In the month of February this year, a British parliamentary group visited Pakistan-occupied Kashmir to review the human rights situation on the ground. But it has now revealed that the group received money to the tune of 30,000 British pounds or 30 lakh rupees from the Pakistan government for this trip. Britain's all-party parliamentary group on Kashmir, or the APPGK, is tasked with highlighting human rights abuses in Kashmir. The stated objective of the group is to support the right to self-determination of the Kashmiri people. But the APPGK has always been criticized for being pro-Pakistan. Most of its members are legislators of Pakistani descent. Not even a single individual of Indian origin is part of this parliamentary grouping. APPGK is headed by British MP Debbie Abrahams, who was deported from India earlier this year over an invalid visa. A day after her deportation, Abrahams visited Pakistan and met with Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan. All parliamentary groups in Britain are required by law to reveal so-called benefits received in kind if the amount is more than £1,500. The latest register of parliamentary groups revealed that APPGK received anywhere between £31,000 and £33,000 for their trip, and that too from the Pakistani government. Reports indicate that this was not the first time either. In September 2018, the Pakistani High Commission in London gave almost £10,000 to APPGK for a visit to Pakistan. To put this payment into perspective, we could not find any other instance of payments made by a national government to parliamentary groups, let alone one that's probing human rights abuses in territories occupied by them. And now we have with us former Indian Envoy to the United Kingdom, Ruchi Ghanashyam, joining us live on the broadcast. Thank you so much for being with us here on WION The World. One straight to the bat, I want to begin by asking you, the fact that the British Parliamentary panel on Kashmir received money from Pakistan, how much does it show Pakistani influence over the panel?
Well, thank you so much, WION World, for having me. I would say that this information would be perhaps tip of the iceberg. I'm sure that there are other support that they have been receiving over the years, which may or may not have been coming to light in the past. This APPGK, I think we have to see not just the report that you are citing, but also what they have been doing. Their effort seems to have been focused only on maligning India and on pushing the Pakistani narrative, in which they listen to specific voices. They have not been open and available for other groups of people from Kashmir or Kashmiri origin people in the UK. For instance, the group of Kashmiri Pandits, which is there in the UK, I don't think has ever been heard. Or even from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan areas, where there are people in UK who would like this APPGK to listen to their grievances about enforced disappearances and about human rights violations in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. But this APPGK has always been, in my view, partisan, and their agenda seems to have been one-sided. And I think the actions of this, or the output of this group, as much indicates the point that you are trying to make.
Right, in that sense, if I were to ask you, will you call it a clear case of buying UK MPs by Pakistan for propaganda globally as well as domestically?
No, I don't know if I would go so far as to say that UK MPs are being bought. I don't think that would be appropriate. But certainly there is an attempt or an effort by Pakistan to gain leverage into UK politics through sections of its diaspora. It's not to suggest that all Pakistani diaspora is being leveraged, but sections of the Pakistani diaspora is obviously being leveraged for this purpose by Pakistani elements. And their effort and their objective is to gain influence over sections of this UK politics, to further Pakistani narrative and team their agenda, which through the parliament, through the reports that the motivated reports that they create, then it reverberates into the media and other wider sections of UK and even Europe. So to that extent, I think one would have to look at this in that context as well.
Right. Now I want to get back to more basic fundamental issues, the raison d'etre, if it were, for this group. What is the need of this all-party parliamentary group on Kashmir? What purpose does it serve? Does it have any British parliamentary backing?
No, it's not a formal parliamentary body. It's an informal group. And I myself would question the raison d'etre. Jammu and Kashmir is an inalienable part of India. It's not, they have country groups, but this is not a country. It's not a subject like, say, Ayurveda or cycling or some other issue. This is a part of India, and I really don't see the raison d'etre for such a group to be formed. And as I said earlier, the objective of this group seems to be clearly to just further Pakistani narrative and an anti-India narrative into the UK public space. So to that extent, yes.
That's what I wanted to touch upon next. Does this show deep linkages between Islamabad and wider British politics? The Labour Party has not been very charitable to India in the first place. They're taking a not very pro-India stance, and now you're witnessing other examples.
Well, as I said earlier, there is clearly an attempt by Pakistan to leverage sections of its diaspora for influence into Pakistan, into UK politics, and this is, obviously, it's visible through the debates which they try to organize in Parliament, and repeatedly the same kind of questions that they keep raising with or without, rather without verification. Vis-a-vis India stretching the anti-India narrative in UK. This obviously constrains the British government, makes it look over its shoulder every time they are dealing with India-Pakistan issues. And to that extent, I would say that, it is an impediment, or it kind of like a speed breaker in India-UK relations. The Labour Party, you are right, last year they had adopted a very negative anti-India partisan resolution at their party conference. We had cancelled our Labour Friends of India dinner because of the anti-India nature of that resolution. This was done mainly under the pressure of sections of the Pakistani diaspora in UK, and leader of the party at that time was Mr. Jeremy Corbyn. Ironically, the Indian diaspora also has been traditionally supportive of the Labour Party, but following this resolution and the two very vicious attacks on the Indian High Commission last year on August 15 and then in early September, the Indian diaspora for the first time, to my knowledge, became very active, in taking an overt stance sometimes on issues of politics. Now the new leadership under Mr. Keir Starmer has very clearly indicated that he wants to adopt a kind of a neutral approach to India-Pakistan issues, and he wouldn't want to get or interfere or involved in these issues. Right. I remember a very good, useful, positive discussion with the Shadow Foreign Secretary and the Shadow Minister for Asia and the Pacific. But we still have to see, how far they go on this, because it is true that in the past 1 year at least, we haven't seen a very charitable version of approach to India, and it has to be recognized by them that India-UK relations are far more important to the whole scheme to the larger scheme of things.
Ruchi Ghanashyam, former Indian envoy to the United Kingdom, joining us live on the broadcast here on WION World. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.